Hey, my name's Gary. I'm a grateful, recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I'm just gonna check in for a second today. It was a pretty good day. My collar's all crooked. I don't know why. Probably like that all day. I missed a spot shaving too. Been walking around with like this clump of hair right here. But so I don't give a fuck. The I wanted to say, I'm just gonna check in today. What I did is I got up at 3:30 in the morning. I usually get up at 3:50. I was wide awake before the alarm went off. I was gonna hit the gym, and it makes me feel good. And I didn't have it in me, man. But I got to work, early. I got to work a little bit early. I usually get in at 6. I was there, I don't know, a few minutes early. I'm surrounded by some pretty good group of people, man. Two guys that I'm very, that I interact with all day is my boss. He's the director of the division, and there's my partner. You know, they said he's my assistant, but he's not. We're equals. I just know more about one area, and he knows more about another area, and we make a fucking great team, man. Like, we're Bonnie and Clyde in the other life. But we're just we understand each other right off the bat. It's like one of those guys you meet, and there's Bob again. So one of these guys, like if you ever, you're halfway through life like me, and you meet somebody, and you're like, God damn, it's like we just speak the same language. We know each other, and this guy will be my friend for life, man, till one of us kick it. But I want to say that today was a hard day. I went into work. It was like I was in a dream state. I'm still in shock, man. I just lost my son a week and 1 day ago. So, kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Beautiful day out. It was a little chilly this morning. Like you almost needed a sweater or jacket this morning in Austin, Texas, which you usually don't. And the weather's changing. It's that time of year. And it was just I was in a dream state all day. I've been carrying around a check in my pocket. The bank's half a mile away from the office, and I got in the truck yesterday and go, okay, I gotta go to the bank, and I got right on the freeway and went home. I did the same thing today. I got in the truck and okay, go to the bank, and then I got on the freeway and went home. Like, I'm just putting one foot in front of the other. Got off at noon. They let me off a little early, and put in a solid 6 hours of who knows what I did today. And I went home, I took a nap, and then I got up, drank some coffee, felt a little bit better, and went to an AA meeting. That is my juice, man. Now, I like to be the strong guy and all that stuff, and like I appear maybe strong. I looked at some of these videos, and not all of them, but I looked at some of them, and I'm like, fuck, man, yeah, you look pretty fucking good for just losing your kid, man. Like, you carry a pretty good message right now, and that's okay. So that's what I'm here to talk about, right? I'm not doing this on my own. Like, this isn't a me thing. I'm on autopilot right now. I don't know what to do, what to say. Just put one foot in front of the other, and people are just kind of shuffling me in this direction or that direction. I know I got to get up for work in the morning, and I'll probably get up for work and be a little bit better than tomorrow. And probably, the guys around me, these are good guys that I can't say that we're fucking tight and they love me and all that stuff because they're my coworkers, right? But they have big hearts, man. And they have that capacity for love. And you could see it in their eyes and the way they're handling me, right? From the owner of the company, which I don't interact with much, and he's been awesome. To my direct boss that I answer to, and then everybody, my coworkers, everybody else. You could see it in their eyes, and not everybody has that compassion, but that's okay. Everybody's just different. So I gravitate towards the ones that do. And there's a lot to gravitate to at work. I'm really grateful. So then I go to an AA meeting, and I was kind of numb and just kind of floating around, like I said, in this kind of dream state. I went to an AA meeting and I read the promises. In the beginning of the meeting, they give you the traditions, and then they give somebody the chapter 5 and how it works, and then they gave me and I thought, how are you gonna get through this without fucking losing it, man? And I was numb through it, right? I read it and it was weird. I figured I would lose it where they say, we're gonna know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. And all of that stuff is happening in my life, right? So I work the steps, I go to meetings, I pray to God, and all of those things are materializing. It says if we work for them. So yeah, I worked for them. I've earned them, right? But a lot of it's grace. A lot of it's just God's grace, a free gift, right? Because I didn't remove that craving off the bat. I didn't work the steps, He took it out of me. So, this is for the new guy, trying to struggle, and I'm just being honest, okay? So then, they taught, so the guy who leads the meeting, right? I read the promises, and then they open the meeting, and this guy, the leader, reads from page 417, acceptance. Acceptance is the answer to all of our problems. And it is. I really believe it is. What was really fucking cool about that is I didn't realize this, because I was, I'm a fucking bumbling idiot right now. But the guy, Dr. Paul, who wrote that, I know a lot of the guys he sponsored, and they were the guys who scooped me up, right? When I was new in 2002, when I got to AA, and I had 10 years clean, I did all my time in Laguna Beach there, that 7 a.m. morning meeting. And, there was a lot of guys that knew Dr. Paul and was sponsored by him, knew his wife, and, this guy spiritually infused. He's infusing people now, still, with page 417. I mean, this will live on forever. So, how powerful is that, man? This is a guy who couldn't stop fucking drinking, right? He was a drunk. And then shoot up. And fucking he'd shoot up in his car. I hope I'm getting the story straight, right? It's probably some other story. But I'm pretty sure he'd shoot up in his car, right? He's a doctor, so he'd hit himself with some good shit, right? And barely, he'd time it. Okay, I gotta make it to the fucking couch or the bedroom to just collapse, right? So, and that's how I drink and used, right? Like that, So I go to the meeting and I raise my hand and I share about, I'm really fortunate because I knew a lot of these guys that he spiritually infused, right? And they coddled me when I got there and showed me this way of life. And I shared, I didn't lose that time, that 10 years, right? It's not, we all got just today. And I wasn't trying to oh, look how big my dick is or anything like that. I'm just saying, I didn't lose that time because all of that stuff's slowly coming back to me, like the story of on page 417, right? Dr. Paul. It made me feel at home. It was what I needed to hear. And it was a double whammy because I knew a lot of these guys that this guy fucking listened to their inventories and shit like that. Like this guy, I was a big part of that whole crowd because I was a personality in that meeting, that morning meeting at 7 a.m. And, I talked to my buddy Randy. I talked about him in a little bit in the video when I was getting in my car. I had just found out about my son. I was trying to think, how am I going to get on a plane? And Randy called me. He's like, hey, Gary, and I would like fucking lost it because I knew who it was. I hadn't heard his voice for 10 years, but I fucking knew. Can you just give me a few minutes here, guys? My cat and my dog. So Randy ended up coming down from Phoenix, like he said he was, right? We were going to try to make that morning meeting, and Randy was working on zero sleep. I think he fell asleep, and he only had an hour or two to sleep, and he probably slept like a 45 minutes too long or something. And he, big deal, right? So me and Randy haven't really been, we didn't miss a lick. I mean, it was like we were still best friends, right? So it was crazy. We just picked up right where we left off, right? And we get into Irvine, which we both know. Like in the old days, we just drove Irvine and Laguna Beach and Newport Beach. I mean, where everything is, right? So I haven't been back there for a while. I mean, I had, but not too much, just to drive, to get into trouble or whatever. I knew where that was. But now we're driving around Irvine, which I lived in Irvine for like years, right? And Tustin and Newport Beach and Balboa Island. And we get off the 405 and he's like, where's Alton? And I'm like, I don't know. It's up here. Like, it's like a mutt, right? We got lost. So these two sober guys, Randy's been sober 20-something years, and we were fucking lost. And we ended up in Turtle Rock or something like that, man. Which is nowhere near Alton or anything, We were looking for Alton. So, and then he calls his girlfriend, and she's just laughing at us, because it was just funny, man. And it's probably just a normal mundane story, but it meant something to me. And that fellowship, that Randy meant something to me. That he showed up, and he knew I was down and in danger, and that's what we do for each other. Join this thing that we do, right? If you've got a problem with drugs or alcohol, the miracles just keep coming every day, right? So to finish off my day, okay, so I'm sorry I'm all over the place, right? But bear with me. I'll put it together. But I was real sad all day, right? And just kind of like in this dream state, and I shared in the meeting. So I shared that about Dr. Paul. Being, I've got to be close to his message that he infused these guys with. These are the guys that took me under their wing, right? And then I started sharing about my son, and I fucking lost my marbles, man. And I didn't, how you get embarrassed when you're like, because we're men, and I'm a tough guy, and all that stuff, and it's all about how I look and all that shit. But because that's how I've always lived my life, and right now I'm not living my life that way. I know that I need to mourn and grieve, and I really don't give a fuck what it looks like. And I'm just going to gravitate towards those little beacons of light. And there was a lot of them in that room, man. So I'm crying. I'm not looking anybody in the eye, and just weeping, man. I didn't know what to say, and I looked up, and everybody else was crying too. A room full of 15 or 20 people, and I don't know any of these people because, I just know a couple of guys. One guy's got like 20-some years, and he has a beard, and he sits in there, and I'm not going to name names, but he's a Uh, he sits in this. It's called Bolden, and it's in a residential neighborhood on Bolden Avenue in Austin, Texas. And the Laguna Beach Canyon Club was something special. But that was a meeting, where there was 120 people every morning, and so there was a lot of support and a lot of craziness, right? Because we're not the perfect pictures of mental health. We're just all trying to. It's a we deal, and we're doing it together, right? So we get to do it real fucking imperfectly, right? Well, these people in here, this is a very small house that I don't know what the history, but it's like 40-some-year-old meeting, right? And we were all in there, and they felt my pain because I allowed it to happen, and I dropped my drawers, and I'm gonna stay sober another night. I haven't felt like drinking, but I know I'm in trouble, I know I'm in danger. I know I'm in harm's way. If I rest on my laurels and push God away and take a walk down that bad neighborhood, I can maybe get away with it for a day or two, maybe 3. Who knows? I'm a tough guy. I can white knuckle this shit. Why fucking would I want to do that? When all of this, like I said, all those beacons and all that love is available to me, and it's available to you. So join this thing we do. I'm in a lot of pain right now, and I could not do this without AA, love, God. It's a scary place. Like when I turn this video thing off, I did it last night. I turned this thing off, and then it was just quiet. It's just me and the dog and the cat, right? And I get scared, I get scared to be alone right now because I'm alone with a crazy person and a sad person, right? I can be crazy and sad, and I can beat the shit out of myself worse than anybody has ever beaten the shit out of me. I promise you that. I can take the wood to myself like no one ever had. Like I would never let anybody do that to me, but I do it to myself. And I think that's why I get scared. So what I do is I lay on my bed, and last night I just laid on my bed and prayed, and I held my dog. He's a dog, okay? But I don't need to get into like his nationality and everything, but his name is Bo. He's right here. And I love him with all my heart, man. He's been there through everything, and so I spoon him. He's warm, and I lay there and I prayed, and I felt safe again. So when you feel that loneliness and that afraid of being alone, and sounds funny, but I'm one of those guys. Not usually, but right now I'm afraid to be alone. So I don't have a significant other. I don't, my kids are doing their life and all that stuff today, and they will be for the next several days. And I try not to be a pain in their ass. I am sometimes. But I cuddle up with my dog and with God. I've cuddled up with my big book. And I grab this thing that we do. They talk about in the big book. I grab it like a drowning man grabs a life preserver. Or like when you're a little kid and you grab your fucking blankie and it just feels good and comfortable and just, take care of me, And I talk to God, and he gets me through it, and he gives me strength to get out of bed and just do my deal. Be nice to people, be helpful, be useful. The 5-day God challenge, okay? My nephew called me today also. Got a little bug right here. My nephew called me today also, and he's on day 2. And he's like, Uncle Gary, I'm feeling the juice, He didn't call me, he texted me. He's like, I'm feeling the juice, man. Day 2, right? And I guarantee you, there's miracles that are going to happen with this kid if he stays on the 5-day challenge, right? I don't know, it's up to him. But I have a good feeling he's on board for at least 5, right? So if you do the 5-day God challenge, this is what I did. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just suggesting. I got on my knees and I've prayed. Do it for 5 days. Ask God to work in your life. Ask him to reveal himself. And ask him to put the right people in your life, right? And ask him to give you the strength to go to an AA meeting or an NA meeting. And this takes fucking balls, right? Ask him to get the strength. You don't have to do this, right? You don't have to do this to get sober, but this helps, right? Because God works through other people, right? And you will see the power of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you raise your hand and just, instead of trying to look cool, like I always try to do, I let that go tonight. And I was honest with everybody, and there was a room full of tears with me. They were sharing my pain, man. And I got numbers after the meeting, and I talked to a guy named Charlie, and I just checked in with him before I made this video. It'd been an hour, and he was like, "You want to go to an 8 o'clock meeting?" And I'm like, dude, I gotta get up at fucking 3:50 in the morning. I can't, but thank you. I'll check in with you tomorrow. That's how it works. And it's hard to do, but it gets easier. So join this thing. Join this thing we do. 5-day God challenge. If you don't believe in God, ask him to reveal himself. Ask him tell him you want the strength to be useful to others and the courage to share in a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. Raise your hand. Say, "Hey, I'm in trouble. I don't know. I'm trying not to drink today. Help me. I don't know how to do this thing. You guys have been doing it a while." And then go live your life. Bob's about ready to take my dog's nose off, so I'm going to go now. Thank you guys for listening to all my craziness. I will check in with you tomorrow. You're all giving me a lot of strength. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.